Heyo, I'm Christie Rocha, podcast host and content creator, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Inner Edit. This podcast is all about us, the creators, the storytellers, visionaries, navigating the ever-changing online world. We are in this together, facing challenges unique to our craft, like burnout, setting boundaries, dealing with negativity, and that oh-so-familiar imposter syndrome. Join me as I chat with fellow creators, therapists, and coaches to explore collaborations, making connections, diving into creating conscious content, figuring out how to maximize our content output, and discovering that mindset magic that keeps us going. Whether you're a content creator seeking resources or just curious about the behind-the-scenes world of digital creators, the Inner Edit is your resource for personal and professional growth in the digital world. We're all going through the same things, so let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button and welcome to the Inner Edit. Hello, and welcome to the Inner Edit. It's still me, Christie Rocha, your host, formerly of Sass Says, and now of the Inner Edit. I'm here to tell you all about this rebrand, why I'm doing it, why it's called the Inner Edit, all the things. So here is your very short answer first. When I launched a little over 2 years ago, simply put, I created what I needed, and now I need something else. With Sass Says, I needed a place to navigate what felt like constant and overwhelming changes in motherhood, marriage, body image, pursuing passions, discovering my spirituality, basically everything. I started therapy and I was in awe of how helpful it was in navigating all these transitions and changes, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. And I felt absolutely compelled to share the benefits of therapy and self-development with anyone who would listen. So I interviewed therapists, coaches, and women with a mental health, therapeutic, or personal growth story to share. I learned so much about myself, about the world, about mental health and personal growth. And like I said, that was great, but now I need something else. And here's your longer answer. In starting this podcast and producing shows for the last 2 years, I became a content creator. To me, a content creator is someone who produces and shares various forms of media and content, typically on digital platforms like websites, social media, YouTube, blogs, podcasts, whatever online channel you're using. Content creators write articles, they shoot video, they take images, they record podcasts, create music, all the things with the primary goal of engaging and attracting an audience. It is anyone who actively produces and shares content online. So in doing this and becoming this content creator sort of by accident, I guess, I found myself craving conversations with fellow creators who get what it feels like to put yourself out there online. I wanted real, honest conversations around productivity, the ethics of all of it, building relationships, and nurturing our health and wellness in this digital arena. There is no rule book for content creators. There's no HR team. There's no formal structure or typical path to take. Many creators refer to the digital space as the wild, wild west. And in the grand scheme of things, creating content is still a pretty new industry. And so individuals are carving out their own paths on how to be successful, monetize, and grow every day. On one hand, this is fantastic. You can do what you want. You can do what works for you. You can have it your way. But on the other hand, this is also what makes it so hard to know what to do, how to do it, and when. And I really craved understanding, acknowledgement, and a community of people who understand this struggle. Most of the guests of the last 2 years are people I've connected with on social media, through other podcasts, or through networking communities. Most of the guests of the last 2 years are content creators. So I started asking questions, mostly off air to start, like, hey, what app do you use to make reels for your podcast episodes? Or how have your longer episodes been doing? And the more questions I asked, the deeper the responses got. And I really quickly realized that there is a mental health component to creating content. So the questions got deeper and a few moved to on-air discussion, like, do you feel compelled to respond to every social justice issue on your platform? How has your audience responded when you do? How have they responded when you don't? What are your signs to yourself that you are burning out creating content? What do you do to reset? How do you handle negativity in the comments and the DMs? And I wanted to know how these creators, their personal mental health impacted their ability to create content when the need for content seems to be never ending. There is no off button. And additionally, since I was interviewing mainly therapists, I asked about the ethics of being a therapist on social media. So wondering how they would establish boundaries around what they would share and what they wouldn't. I wanted to know how mom creators decided whether or not they show their kids or their faces or share their names. I wanted to know if having a platform and creating content has had an impact on anyone's real life, in-person relationships. And I wanted to know how these creators deal with imposter syndrome and constant comparison. And I also really wanted to know what these creators, particularly the big time ones, wished more people watching them knew. And I'll tell you that last one, when I asked, what do you wish more people following along knew? 9 times out of 10, the answer I got was some variation of, I'd want people to know that I'm a human too. I am not just a social media handle or a personality or a personal brand. I'm a real person. I have feelings. I make mistakes. I have wants, needs. I need to set boundaries. And this answer kept coming up again and again. And putting the pieces together, I started to realize that no matter how big or small of a following a person has, we are all going through a lot of the same mental and emotional challenge, but not a lot of us are talking about it. And there certainly aren't many resources to turn to, like if any at all. And that's when the light bulb really started flickering in my brain. I thought, I need this. I need a community. I need resources. I need understanding and guidance. Therefore, someone else must need it too. And then, I do what I do. I say, all right, I'll create it. And so fast forward, here we are, the inner edit. The inner edit is a little play on editing content and editing ourselves, doing that inner work. I firmly believe that your personal development has a direct impact on your ability to connect with your community, on your ability to monetize your platform, on your ability to navigate the unique challenges and pressures that come along with digital content creation. You may not be Jennifer Aniston, but you are a public figure. Get that through your head. If you are creating content and sharing it publicly, you are a person putting details about yourself, your life, your work, and your passions online for public consumption. I also believe there is still quite a bit of misinformation and a lot of misconceptions out there about what it's actually like to be a digital creator. I think sometimes people hear quote unquote content creator and they think that means that you are an influencer who posts outfits purchased from Amazon and just got lucky with a large following. And as quickly as I say that, I can also assure you that even those creators who fall into that category, they are putting in a ton of work and they are feeling all the highs and lows as the rest of the creator world. But I think there is this belief that anyone who, quote unquote, makes it big online and has a large following is just so lucky. And you must have just this nice, cushy life. How wonderful to be able to wake up and make a few silly videos every day and call it work. This narrative has to change. Being a digital creator has its perks, it has its ups, it has its wonderful things, but it also has its downside. Just like any other job. And yes, I said job. It is a job. And again, like other jobs, resources, considerations, validation, support, and community are all needed. And that's why I'm here. That's what the inner edit is here to do. There are a few pillars that this show will focus on that I'd like to tell you about next. The first I am calling collabs and connection. So creating content can actually be very isolating. You are often sitting by yourself in your office with a phone and a ring light and a camera or a mic, talking and moving and acting as if you are talking to a real person in front of you, but truly, you are alone. Creators spend a ton of time connecting with people online, but we all know there is a difference when you connect with people in person. I attended an event at the start of the summer hosted by Tara Clark of Modern Mom Probs. Shout out, girl. It was an in-person event for content creators, and almost every single one of us remarked on how amazing it was to connect with people in real life. Like, it just hits different. So here at the Inner Edit, we're going to learn about how to actually connect with fellow creators in real life and in the digital world. We're going to talk about nurturing our relationships with our commenters, our colleagues, like all things connection, whether it's digital or in person, with just this emphasis on how much we truly need connections. So creators, you're not alone. We are all out here looking for friends, okay? So let's start making these connections, and we're going to learn how, and we're going to just normalize this, all right? The next pillar is conscious content. So I know as a creator, I want to create authentic content, but also let my creativity run a little wild, but also be respectful. And if that sounds a little wonky, it's because it is. It's a very gray area full of many fine lines. So we're going to learn and talk about setting personal limits, establishing boundaries, and developing a personal code of ethics that will guide us in creating content that truly resonates with our audience, but still personally fulfills us. The third pillar is maximizing output. Digital platforms are set up in such a way that there is no limit. The limit does not exist. The more content you create, the more you are rewarded. These platforms want you to engage with them for as many hours as possible. This is a super tough dynamic to manage as a consumer, let alone someone who is making a living off of creating content. So we want to create content efficiently. On this podcast, we're going to learn how to stay organized, how to manage our time, and set realistic goals. We're going to learn how to set up processes. We're going to learn how to delegate when it makes sense and create a balanced schedule that still allows us to feel good about the amount of hours we are scrolling on our phones, watching, and creating content. And lastly, a little something I'm calling mindset magic. Creators often feel pulled into this digital vortex, and it can be difficult to put yourself first and nurture your well-being when you are on this hamster wheel. So we're going to discuss how to prioritize our personal wellness and prevent burnout. I firmly believe that our mindset and personal growth have a direct impact on our communities, our platforms, and the content we produce. When you prioritize your well-being and personal growth, your content will reflect your best self, and your audience and your community are going to feel that and reap the benefits. All right? So as my husband says, that's the jam. If you're not yet a content creator or don't ever plan to be, but you want to stick around, you will hear behind the scenes details of your favorite creators, and you will also learn how to best support the person who's behind that account. And if you are a creator, just know this: we're all going through the same things, so let's talk about it. Join the wellness movement for digital creators here on the Inner Edit. Woo! All right, so check back in on Friday for the first interview. I'm so excited. I am joined by Tara Clark, creator of Modern Mom Probs. She is just the best human being alive, such a great supporter of me and the show and of women and of creators. She's got a lot to say. We got a lot to cover. Check back in on Friday. And until then, have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Inc. To learn more about me, my world, all the things going on, head over to ChristieRocha.com. Bye.